Recording in progress.
Pnawn da. Y cynghorydd Austin Roberts ydw i.
I'm Councillor Austin Roberts, and I'm the chair of the Planning Committee. Can I welcome everyone to the meeting, which is a multi-location meeting.
Yn ogystal ag aelodau'r
In
pwyllgor,
addition to committee members, we've also got officers joining us to assist with our discussions today, and also registered speakers. The meeting will be live streamed and recorded and be available for viewing after the meeting. Should the live stream fail, the meeting will continue and the recording will be available through Council's website following the conclusion of the meeting. Can I remind members that translation facilities are available? And for those attending remotely, to choose your language of choice, please. For those wishing to speak in the chamber, please raise your hand. For those attending remotely, please use the raised hand function. We'll alternate between speakers in the chamber and remote attendees. There's an issue with the equipment, so if you could just bear with.
Yeah, okay.
Apologies for the delay. We won't keep you too long. Translator number 2, can you come in, please? And can you try? We're having difficulty with translator number 1.
Yep, I'll try, Jane. Hope everyone can hear me. Yep, can you hear me, Jane? We'll try again. I've lost where I was now. Right, for those attending remotely, remember that those in the chamber are not able to use the chat facility. Can you hear me?
I hear Austin as well as the translation. I can live with it. Rather than delay the meeting, I think we can live with it, can we?
Are members happy to continue as we are, or would you like to hang on for a minute or two? Are you happy to continue? Everyone on Zoom, can you hear the translator clearly? Wonderful. Translator 2, can you just try again, please?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. I need to read often. That would help.
That would help. So members attending remotely need to leave their cameras on throughout the deliberations and when voting to maintain the integrity of the decision-making process. If you have to leave the meeting temporarily for any reason, please put a message in the chat facility so that the Democratic Services Officer knows and then let us know when you return. I expect everyone present and taking part in the meeting to act appropriately and respect each other. This is relevant for members, officers, and anyone in the public gallery.
Thank you, Chairman. Just to say, it's not perfect, but if members are happy to continue, okay. Thank you.
Okay. Nawn ni symud ymlaen i'r
Okay,
rhaglen.
we'll move on to the agenda. Item 1 is apologies for absence.
Apologies for absence.
Yes, Councillor Mandy Hawkins and Paula Jones, Head of Building Control, I believe.
Yes.
Apologies as well, thank you.
Item 2, datgan
Item
cysylltiad.
2, declarations of interest, Code of Local Government Conduct.
Any declarations of interest? And we've got loads of hands up. Right, we'll start with Joe.
Diolch, Cadeirydd. Mine is personal and prejudicial for reference number 0/51802. I sit on the local area forum central, which covers Colwyn Bay, and we've discussed the land at Wetherspoons in great detail, and we've actually voted to offer that. So I will be sitting out of that part of the meeting. Thank you.
Okay, iawn, hapus. Councillor Chris Cater.
And Cadeirydd, yeah, it's code reference, it's agenda item 6A, code reference 0/51657, which is the artificial grip, pitch and modular changing pavilion proposed for the playing fields of Ysgol y Creuddyn. I'm a governor at Ysgol y Creuddyn, so I'll be declaring a prejudicial interest and leaving the room.
Diolch yn fawr. Cynghorydd Carr and then Tristan.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Just for clarification, I'm the same as Joe. I sit on Area Foreman Central. Just for some advice, do I need to withdraw for that item?
Have you said anything in any of those meetings which would give any suggestion or indication that you've already made up your mind as to which way you're going to? If you're in doubt, then.
Sorry, yeah, I'm not actually, I don't think I said it, I can't actually remember, but I've got an open mind on it. So I'll go with your advice. What should I do?
So if you're in doubt, you should withdraw from the discussion.
Okay, okay, got you. I'll do that then. Thank you.
Okay, diolch yn fawr, Councillor Carr. Cynghorydd Tristan.
Councillor Tristan.
Rhif ar yr agenda 6A,
6A, 51657, Ysgol y Creuddyn. I was a pupil there, but I left 27 years ago, which sounds a lot of time and is quite scary, but I just wanted to check. Yeah, okay, thank you.
Cynghorydd Gwennol.
Councillor Gwennol.
Diolch.
Thank you. I have an interest in 2 applications, as I noted in the previous meeting. The application 0/51739. My daughter worked at GYG Karting 10 years ago, but I have no prejudicial interest. And application 0/516 Ysgol y Creuddyn, 57 Ysgol y Creuddyn. I have a brother working there as a finance officer, but it's not prejudicial. I haven't discussed this with him at all. Thank you.
Okay, Cynghorydd Nia.
Councillor Nia. I'd like to declare an interest in application 0/51716, which is Blas ar Fwyd, Llanrwst, as a local member of Llanrwst Ward and Llandoged Ward. Although I don't think it's prejudicial, I have supported the applicant with an application in the past. And so to be completely clear, I think it's best for me to leave the meeting for this item. Thank you very much. Councillor Ifor Lloyd. Thank you, Chair. Apologies. The connection isn't very good today, so I'm off screen to enable my connection to carry on, and I have a sore throat, sorry. Applications 0/51657. My children attend this school, so I'll step out during the discussion of that item. Thank you. Anyone else?
Cynghorydd Aaron Wyn.
Councillor Aaron Wyn. Thank you, Chair. Yes, I'd like to declare an interest in item 6C, 51716, a personal interest only. I've received advice beforehand, so I will be able to continue to take part in the discussion. Thank you.
Yeah, Rachel.
Diolch, Cadeirydd. Although I don't need to declare an interest because I'm not a councillor, I do have a conflict on application 051657, which is the Craven application, because a close personal association of mine has already made representations on the application. So
Oh.
I will be stepping out.
Okay, diolch yn fawr. And finally, i orffan, mae gynna i
And to
ddatganiad i
finish, I
wneud
have an interest to declare in application 0/51496, the pod at TD Ffordd Cennin, Llanbedr Cennin.
Mae mi roedd ewythr y ceisiadydd
The uncle of the applicant was my former neighbour. I don't think it's prejudicial, but I do think to be clear that I should declare a personal interest.
Okay, iawn, ymlaen â ni.
Okay, on we go.
Gan gychwyn efo'r
Starting with the first application.
We go back to urgent matters.
Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah, iawn.
Oh yes, sorry, urgent matters.
There are no urgent.
I forgot. Right. It's going to be a long day, ladies and gentlemen. Iawn. Cofnodion. Yeah, sorry.
Minutes, next.
Yeah, cofnodion, right.
Minutes, right.
Mae'r cofnodion ar
The minutes are on pages 7 to 12.
Mae cynghorydd Alan
Councillor Alan Hunter proposes that they're correct. Councillor Nia seconds. Show of hands, please. Everyone agrees?
Mae hynny yn unfrydol.
That's unanimous.
Right, arwan.
Right, now I can move on.
Iawn. Okay. Dyma ni.
So here we go. The first application before us today
Mae hwn yn gais sydd wedi dod yn ôl.
is an application coming back because it was deferred at the previous committee meeting. And can I also explain why this was deferred? It wasn't because, as has been said in the media, it wasn't due to a lack of presence from councillors on the site visit, but because there was a complaint made by a councillor regarding the way in which the first visit was handled. So it wasn't anything to do with the numbers. Indeed, I can say that there were 8 councillors present on that site visit, and there are 16 of us, and one of those members
oherwydd bod o'n disabled,
because he was disabled, he could not attend the site visit, so that leaves 15. So that day, over half of us were present. On the second site visit we had yesterday, there were 4 members, 4 more members present. So just to make that absolutely clear to the media, because it is important that they do get their facts correct. Thank you. Sermon over and on we go. Code Ref 0/51315.
Of the existing building to residential and erection extension to form 20 number 100% affordable dwellings and associated development, including parking and landscaping at Brooks Tarpaulins, Bangor Road, Penmaen Mawr, Conwy. This application was deferred at the 11th of September meeting to enable a further site visit to be undertaken. Right. Mr. Chan.
Who's going to deal with this? Mr. Chan.
Sorry.
Before we come to Mr. Chan, we have 2 speakers for this one.
First of all, we have got no names on the addendum. Oh, yes, in the box. First of all, Ms. Lauren Eaton-Jones, joint applicant, is registered to speak in favour of the application. Would you like to come down? You will have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, committee members, and thank you for the opportunity to speak about this scheme. I am the Assistant Director of Development for North Wales Housing, and my profession is town planning. I'm telling you this because explaining my background allows you to understand why I feel compelled and qualified to speak about the planning merits of this application. We are in the midst of a housing crisis, and we all hear about it, but it's very real here, and it's happening across North Wales. In this county, there are huge numbers of people waiting for homes, and the reality is they're waiting for homes that don't exist. because the most in-demand homes are the smaller properties that we just don't have enough of. Conway is not alone in this. One-bed properties are needed right across North Wales. As a registered social landlord, we can do something about it, but we can build homes and we can get people out of hotels and B&Bs. We can only achieve this by working with our partners. Temporary accommodation is incredibly costly for the local authority, and we have to work together to overcome this. We are actively looking for sites that can accommodate these smaller homes. I have to be honest, it's very difficult to make projects like this one work. The schemes with smaller homes struggle to be financially viable. As you've probably gathered, this scheme has been redesigned several times and financially assessed just as many. The scheme works for 20 units. It becomes unviable if delivering less homes, and it's as simple as that. The design, therefore, provides the right number of homes to make it viable, manages to retain an older building full of character, and most importantly, provides 20 new affordable homes. Planning balance allows us to weigh up the above, and something as subjective as design and appearance could allow an opinion to destroy this development when housing demand should be tipping that balance because it's based on fact and data. Furthermore, the applicant is a local company employing local people using local suppliers. They've worked closely with ourselves and the council's housing strategy team to create the right mix of homes for this locality. As you'll all be aware, each local authority is allocated Welsh Government funding to deliver affordable homes. This scheme is on the main programme for this county and uses just under £3 million of that allocation. Not having this scheme go ahead would leave a substantial gap in that programme, and I'm sure you'd all prefer to see that funding fully utilised within this county. Yes, there have been other matters to consider. Waste concerns have been the hot topic, and the potential issue of vehicles parked on the highway. Please can I remind members that it's within the council's gift to solve this existing issue, for example, introducing yellow lines. Essentially, delays are being caused by a minor issue that can be overcome. Members, please note that formal objections have not been received from any of the statutory consultees. All in all, any issues raised have been minor in nature and have been or can be addressed. This scheme is deliverable and these 20 homes are needed. The decision of this application comes back to planning balance and the positives of this scheme outweighing these matters by far.
Diolch yn fawr, thank you.
Diolch.
Next we have a cynghorydd Cathy Augustine, who is one of the local members. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Chair and Committee, for giving me the time to speak. I'm addressing you as Ward Member for Penma Mawr and will be speaking in English. As we've heard, this development is proposed by a local company with broad experience of delivering schemes from local homes to a new wing of a London hospital. Given the affordable housing needs across our county, I'm personally delighted that this application has been submitted. We all know that we have an escalating housing crisis with the associated dire costs, both human and financial. There are almost 2,000 households with a need for housing on the social housing register and almost 800 needing a one-bedroomed property. There are 226 households in B&B accommodation, and a massive 93% of those are in need of single accommodation. This scheme is for 20 units of social housing, accommodating 56 people. The design has been revised 3 times to address concerns from local residents and also guidance from our planning officers, clearly demonstrating the willingness of the developer and the RSL to be flexible and to work with CCBC to deliver against our housing targets. Objections regarding parking and outdoor space can be covered off by reminding committee members that the development allocates 1 space per apartment, which meets the requirements of CCBC's parking standard guidelines. Plus, the addendum from last month highlighted an allocation of almost £11,000 for outdoor play and amenities. There is no formal objection to the consultation regarding waste, just the expression of reservations and a recommendation from Highways for a turning area. I understand that the developers would therefore consider it appropriate to agree a preoccupation condition to allow a waste collection solution to be investigated and agreed. The previous speaker mentioned yellow lines, but I'm aware that a number of solutions could be available to fix this. So what is now clear from updated responses is that none of the statutory consultees are now actually lodging formal objections. This just leaves design elements that planning themselves are raising as concerns. The 2 dormers, reduced from 6 initially, ensure that the top apartments adhere to the legally required headspace. The link extension at the back is the height it is due to the requirement to provide level disabled access to each apartment as per Welsh Government WDQR standards. It would, of course, be so much simpler to demolish the existing building rather than to try and retrofit in line with the additional conditions. So please bear in mind that refusing this permission now might lead to seeing this historic building demolished. How can we in good conscience refuse this application merely for the sake of small design elements that have no material impact on neighbours or the environment, but contribute to effective delivery of a much needed housing scheme that also preserves an historic piece of Penmaenmawr heritage for future generations? Thank you.
Iawn, awn ni dros
Okay,
at
we'll move on to the officer, James Chan.
Addendum, just to inform members that there's a typo in paragraph 3 of the report. The total number of affordable housing is to read 20, not 10. So that's the only update for the members, really. Thank you, Chair.
Diolch yn fawr, James. Right, members, it's now open for discussion. Anybody want to speak first? Cynghorydd David Jones.
Thank you, Chair. I'm just wondering if we could see if there's any options exist for the waste collection, sort of the turning area. I heard yesterday, was mentioned at the site visit, there was a solution that existed regarding the grassy areas at the end of the road. I was wondering if we could have any further.
Do you want to come or shall I ask Paul? Okay. Paul, could you come back on that, please? Our highways officer.
Good afternoon. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Hi, that is correct. Highways would be supportive of that being investigated further. It seems, based on known information, that that could be a solution to this problem. We have had initial discussions with the designers, and they have indicated that they're supportive and will investigate that further.
Okay. Are you happy with that, Dave?
Yes, thank you, Paul.
Okay. Councillor Chris Cater.
Thank you, Chair. Well, I don't think I would support refusal of this application on the waste and recycling issue. I'm happy with the design. I'm happy that the existing former chapel building will be largely retained and that the beautiful facade will be kept. I'm happy about the parking spaces, and I'm very happy about the 20 units of social housing. And I think this committee, you know, we do our best to ensure that the housing crisis in the county is addressed. So I think that's a real big element in supporting this application. So that leaves us, Chair, with either approving this or deferring it, either approving it with conditions about the waste collection and work to be done there, or else deferring it until those discussions have been firmed up with the applicant and highways and ERF. So I think those are the two options we've got. I certainly wouldn't support refusal. So I think I'll wait for the rest of the debate, but I'm happy to make a proposal in due course.
Okay. Diolch yn fawr. Cynghorydd Tristan.
Diolch yn fawr. Fues i ar yr ymweliad.
I was there on the site visit, and it was explained quite clearly to us that there was potential to make a place for for waste lorry to turn, and as it was private land, and that could be discussed. Councillor Cater gave us two options. I favour his first option, and that the planning department discusses with the applicant that we recommend we approve the application, and I am going to make a formal proposal that we accept the application. That was my view. But one more thing about the building, the chapel building, and we saw with the facade of the chapel, or the former chapel, that these dormers are a cause for concern. And again, it would be so easy for them to demolish the chapel. The chapel isn't listed. It would be much easier for them. And if that's the only concern, then I propose that we continue with that. I think it would be better if the dormers weren't there, but this question with height in the flats is relevant. But I propose that we approve the application rather than refuse it. Thank you.
Councillor Stephen.
Councillor Stephen.
I'm more than happy to second.
Okay, iawn, diolch yn fawr. Right, I had...
Thank you very much. I had... First online was Andrew Wood, second is David Carr.
Andrew.
Chair, how are you this afternoon? You looking forward to a long day?
Yes.
Thank you very much. I took into account and listened to both speakers. A bit disappointed that the social landlord representative sort of minorised the conclusions of our officers. But therefore, one's there for safety and one's there because of the design elements are not as in keeping. I'm really happy to support this, but as Chris alluded to, do we or can we condition a turning area so vehicles don't have to reverse back? And I will remind Councillor Caffey, this was on page 34. It was not acceptable on the grounds of highway safety. So the question I ask is, can we condition this based on what Paul was saying with the social landlord and look at these dormers? Thank you.
James. Okay, Katie, you want to come in, Katie?
Diolch, Cadeirydd. Yeah, it was just to clarify just a point on the turning area. I believe that the land in question that we're referring to is to the north of the site, and that would actually fall outside the application site area. So we don't have the means within this current application to provide a turning area within that piece of land. And secondly, if members are mindful to support the current application contrary to officer recommendation, could I just remind you to include a provision for the Section 106 legal agreement to secure the planning obligations on the site?
Cynghorydd Tristan.
Just
to be clear, and maybe Paul could confirm this, the land where we were looking at yesterday, where it's possible to turn, that's public. There's a public path, am I right, Mr. Chan?
A public footpath.
A gate, because there's a lamp there, a street lamp, which means that it's public land. That's what I understood. Or maybe Paul could just explain, because we could see where the public road ended, but then there's a bit of green land that I thought was public land. Am I correct or not?
Paul, I think can you clarify? I think what Councillor Tristan wants to know is the land which you mentioned where it would be possible. Could you clarify who owns that land?
Yes. The land in question has a public right-of-way running through it. That right-of-way appears at some point to have been closed, but it is still legally there. The land appears to be set aside for highway purposes, but is not registered as council land.
Yeah, okay. Did that help?
Right. Does that help you, Tristan? Not much.
So,
okay,
there is
Sorry. There is
Yeah,
the
carry on,
possibility
Paul.
that the land. There is the possibility that the land could become a turning area, but the outcome of that is not yet known. But there is the possibility that that could happen.
Okay, yeah.
We would require that for this development, but at this moment in time, theoretically, it's possible. The issue is, my understanding is one for the planning officer, is whether it's in the red line boundary or not. I don't have the knowledge to explain that any further to the committee.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, Councillor Carr, and thank you for being patient.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. This is not an ideal application, and there are a lot of issues with it. I think that the Housing Association could have done things smarter and better. In an ideal world, I would probably go with officer's recommendation, but we are in a housing crisis, and these 20 units are badly needed. And as I said in a meeting the other day, homelessness is the worst thing for people. So I will be supporting this application. Thank you.
Diolch yn fawr, Cynghorydd Carr. Cynghorydd Ifor Lloyd.
Diolch, Cadeirydd.
Thank you, Chair.
Dwi'n cefnogol.
I support this development.
Mae 'na bach o waith ar y ffordd 'na.
There's a bit of work on the road. We were looking yesterday on the site visit, and there was potential to move the curb 1 metre, and that would solve the problem. It's not a big problem, just one that needs to be worked on with highways in future, so I'm supportive of the application. Thank you.
Diolch yn fawr. Cynghorydd Alan Hunter.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Yeah, I'd be inclined to support this because there is a massive housing need. I would agree with the previous comments regarding the applicants not possibly working with officers earlier to provide this turning head. It's a problem. We know it's a problem. And it would have been better if this had come to us and we're not even discussing the turning head because that had already been dealt with before the application come in. One thing I wouldn't like to see as an option is yellow lines, because all that will do is move the problem somewhere else of parking. Because on both site visits, yesterday was less, but the previous one, there's a lot of parked cars on that road. Put yellow lines down, it solves one problem, but creates another one. I'd also like to commend the team from ERF for the work that they did to try and find a solution to this. On page 25 of the report, they've tried all options. So I will support it, but it's disappointing that the applicants don't come with something that makes our life easier, shall we say, that we can pass this. So yeah, I'd like not like to see the yellow lines option.
Diolch yn fawr. Cynghorydd Tristan.
Can I be awkward, Councillor Chair? You're always awkward, Tristan. I knew you'd say that. Can I amend my proposal and propose then that we defer this application because it's obvious that there's a grey area on this land. We could be on a bit of a dangerous spot here. Councillor Alan Hunter is exactly right. This should be sorted beforehand, and it's late in the day. Having this information coming yesterday. I've put Paul in a bit of a corner, and it is a grey area. And we all, as far as I can see, as councillors, are very supportive and see the need for housing, but we want to be careful to ensure that everything happens in an orderly manner. So I'm going to amend my proposal and propose that we defer this application.
Okay. Did you get that, Councillor Stephen? And are you happy to second it?
Yeah, I heard the amendment and I can't support the amendment. It's already been deferred once and I think this needs to be resolved today.
Okay, so are you retracting your
right? So just to clarify, I support Councillor Tristan's original proposal, but I do not support his amendment.
Yeah. Okay. Tristan or Councillor Allen.
Thanks, Chair. As soon as I've raised the points, I'd be happy to second the amended proposal for Councillor Tristan.
Okay. Yeah, right. Is there any other proposal? Katie, sorry, you want to come in, Katie?
Diolch Cadeirydd. Yeah, it was just, could I ask members to give consideration to requesting an extension to the determination date for the applications to allow officers the additional time to investigate the matter of the land and the turning point, and to give us time to refer the application. I think referring it back to the next meeting might be a bit ambitious, so we may need to refer it back to the December meeting.
Okay, Councillor Joe, before I go back to Councillor Allen and Tristan.
Diolch. With the sound being not great, can you just go through what the amendment was in
Yes,
Russell? Thank
okay,
you.
we would have to do that anyway.
Diolch.
Okay, iawn, diolch yn fawr. Tristan, wyt ti'n hapus efo
Tristan, are you happy with what Katie said?
And Alan, you're both
Yes.
happy? Okay.
Both happy,
Then
yes.
We have a proposal as Cynghorydd Ifar Lloyd.
Yeah.
Councillor
Do you want to
Ifar
ask a question to Katie, referring to the 106? Can something be built into the 106 to purchase the land, to extend the turning point, or to widen the actual road by 1 metre, so a vehicle can be reversed down? And that would be done very quickly and easily and not very expensively, and that would resolve the issue.
The short answer would be no. So if we were to have the 106, we would need to have the landowners enter into the section 106. So if it transpires that the council don't own the land and we're able to find out who does, if that party is willing to enter into a 106 to provide the turning area, then that would be something that we could explore.
Iawn Ifar?
Yeah, diolch.
Okay, Councillor Carr.
Yeah, I'm happy to support Councillor Tristan's deferral, but I'm worried about timescales. Can we get this sorted, as I said, because these units are very badly needed? What could I ask? What kind of timescale we're looking at to resolve the problem?
I think Councillor, I think Katie Roberts has already said that. Can you just say once again, as timeline wise, please, Katie?
Yep, I'm just mindful that the reports for the November due within a few weeks' time, and I'm not sure whether that would give us, I think it might be 3 weeks' time. I'm not sure whether that would give us enough time in which to resolve the matter. Obviously, if we could, then we could bring it back to the November meeting, but I just wanted to give us that buffer, that cushion, if you like, so that if it's not resolved by then, we could bring it back to the December meeting.
Are you happy with that, David Carr?
But the latest will come back to us in December.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Okay, yeah. Okay, sir. Right. I don't think there's anybody else want to speak. Right. We have a proposal. Can you say
it again, please, Tristan? That we defer the decision. That we defer until.
So I propose there's a deferral. I originally proposed that we go against the officer's recommendation and we approve the application, but now asking for a deferral until, and that'll happen in December, won't it, Chair?
At the latest.
Yeah.
And Councillor Allen, you're happy to second that. Councillor Stephen?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I'm mindful that if we defer and it comes back to us and it becomes transparent that that piece of land isn't available for a turning point for the refuse wagons, then it's likely that we would go with the officer's recommendations and refuse planning permission. And therefore, we wouldn't have those 20 odd units available for the homeless within Conwy County Council. It's a minor issue, and I think deferring it would be a waste of time because we recognise the need for housing and we're only potentially refusing that application on minor issues which can be resolved in the short term. And I don't feel we gain anything in deferring it. So I'd like to propose that we go against the officer's recommendations and approve the application as it stands.
Diolch yn fawr. Councillor Chris Cater.
I've got a lot of sympathy with Councillor Stephen because in my ward and in Llandudno General, there are plenty of premises with communal bins that are very difficult for ERF to access. And I know they have a lot of hard work getting in and out and getting the refuse and everything. From the site visit yesterday, when I spent quite a long time looking at this area with the highways officer, it really didn't seem a big problem to solve. And I wouldn't say a definite no to a traffic order, putting some sort of WL lines or whatever there, as minimal as possible. But yes, it did not seem an area that couldn't have a solution. There seemed to be plenty of space there, and the highway could be widened or WL lines put there. So I must admit, I do have a lot of sympathy with Councillor Stephen. The thing is, if we do approve it, it'll have to come back in a month's time for ratification anyway. So there's that aspect of it as well, isn't it? It will be delayed in any case. So I just leave that hanging in the air.
So are you willing to second Councillor Stephen's proposal? Or are you sitting on the fence?
Well, as I said originally, it's either got to be deferred or approved. I think we'll test the water, and I'll second Councillor Stephen, and we'll see how the vote goes on.
Diolch yn fawr. Councillor Dav, do you want to come in quickly?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I'd just like to agree totally with Councillor Stephen on this.
Okay.
These properties are needed yesterday, really. And as has been explained, these problems of turning for the refuse trucks are they're minor problems in a lot of sense. And I'd just like to, well, I was going to second Councillor Stephen on this. I really think we can't afford to defer this too many times.
Okay, thank you. Katie.
Thank you, Chair. Could I just ask Councillor Stephen to consider adding a provision to his recommendation to include the Section 106 to secure the affordable housing and also the commuted sum payments towards waste and open space, please?
Yeah, he's shaking his head.
Happy with that.
As
Thank
if
you,
that
Katie.
would be a yes. Okay. Are you happy with that also, Chris?
Yes, the seconder I'm happy with.
Yes. Okay. Right. Okay. We've got Councillor David Carr.
Yeah.
It's going to be a long day, David, so make it short. Thank you.
I'll make it short. Yeah, I think I've got faith in our office to resolve these problems. I think we need to get this right. I'm as desperate for this housing to be put for the homeless and to get people accommodated. I'm desperate for it too. But I think, this is only a short delay. We need to get this right for the future. So, and there's no guarantee that people are going to vote against it in December anyway. So we need to get this right. So I think a deferral is a sensible approach. It's a balanced approach because, as I said when I originally spoke, there are a lot of problems with this development. That could have been done better, but it gives us that little bit of breathing space to do it and to come back in December. And then if we can get and I'm sure our officers can get these issues resolved. And then we can actually start out with the development on basically getting it right. And that's the most important thing. And it's a short delay, but I think the deferral is important for our officers to get this right, particularly with the waste and the other issues. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Right. Paul Smith.
Thank you, Chair. Please forgive me. I had some low network issues, so didn't hear all that Katie said. So I just want to reiterate that Highways believe that at this moment in time, there is a known solution going forward, but we do require that solution to happen, and we require that turning head to be provided as part of this development.
Yep. Thank you. Diolch yn fawr. Right. I'm moving on. No more speakers. We've got two proposals. And we have got a proposal from Councillor Tristan Lewis that we defer this, which is seconded by Councillor Alan Hunter. We then have another proposal from Councillor Stephen that we go against officer's recommendation and approve this with A106, and that is seconded by Chris Cater. So we will now go with the first proposal that was made by Councillor Tristan. All those in favour of deferral? Anyone against? Okay. Iawn. Abstentions? No, that's it. Iawn, diolch yn fawr. That will be deferred. Iawn. We'll give some time for people in the back to clear before we go on. Iawn. Okay, we'll move on. Second item, yr ail item ar y peth. Mae hwn yn hefyd yn gais
This
sydd
is
wedi
also
dod ger yn bron.
a proposal that's been before us before, and it's been deferred.
Application number dim stroke 51496.
0/51496.
And associated works for holiday use. TD Ffordd Cennin, Llanbedr y Cennin, Conwy. And Liz, is it Liz Wood or Katie who's speaking on this? Oh, sorry, Liz, there you are. I was looking over there because you were there earlier.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Just to let members know, we have had an updated business plan and a financial plan. The latter has been submitted on a confidential basis. The main points from the business plan is that the farm partnership comprises of 5 different partners and it can't support all the partners. The applicant owns his own agricultural contracting business and the glamping pod would form part of the support the applicant's sole trader business. Excuse me. There is a breakdown in terms of the projected turnover and profit per year that's included in that as well. And they also anticipate that visitors would contribute to the local economy by spending as well. There's a number of different comments they've made in terms of the fact they consider it is compliant with local policy and national guidance. And if you move towards the main points on there, officers have considered the additional information that's submitted and we consider it's insufficient justification for the proposed glamping pod and for the following reasons. The business plan states that glamping enterprise will form part of the applicant's sole trader business. The information fails to explain how it would support the existing farm business at Tyddon Coed. And there's limited information has been provided as to how the proposal will assist the business, other than to employ an additional worker and maintain flock and herd sizes. And the financial information does not relate to the existing business at Tyddon Coed. It relates to the applicant's existing contracting business. And just in addition to that, the information relates to the turnover for the previous year and it's unclear what this relates to. So the officer recommendation is still minded to refuse planning permission for those reasons.
Liz.
Diolch.
Iawn. Anybody wants to start off on this? Everybody's quiet. Don't be quiet for too long because we've got a long day. Cynghorydd Alan Hunter. Thank you.
Looks like I'll start. I think we've given 2 opportunities now for the information to come in. And I think we were all hopeful it'd come in to the officer's satisfaction. It's been explained quite clearly that it's not. I don't know where else we can go with this now, so I'm happy to propose that we go with the officer's recommendation.
Okay, diolch yn fawr. Is there a seconder for that? Councillor Andrew Wood.
Yeah, I'm quite happy to second that for the same reasons that the officers mentioned and also Councillor Alan Hunter. Thank you.
Okay, is there anybody else? Councillor David Carr.
Thank you. I'm disappointed that the financial sort of information isn't what the officers want. But we have to be mindful this is one pod, and this is really going to help the people that are having a really hard time at the moment, you know, in our rural areas. And you know, I think we can get over this, really, you know. So you know, I'm minded not to go with officers' recommendations on this. That I think that, you know, a bit of common sense and and let the people have a go to see if they can make a success of it.
Are you making a proposal?
I'm proposing that we go against officers' recommendations and we approve this. That's what I'm trying.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a seconder? Councillor Chris Cater.
Yeah, I think this one pod, you know, we went there on site, we saw the minimal intrusion on the landscape that it would have. There was no real problem with access or whatever. If this helps a young family's finances and enables succession planning and so on, I think it should be supported. So I do listen to what Councillor David had said, and I'm happy to second it.
Okay, diolch yn fawr. Anybody else want to speak? Eva Lloyd.
Yeah, diolch. Yeah, we do have certain departures from policy if they are common sense. And this one, I think this will add to the convivial economy, the local pub, local area. So, yes, I would say we have to look at this as a departure. Diolch.
Diolch yn fawr. Anybody else want to speak? No? Okay, then we have two proposals. The first one is made by Councillor Alan Hunter, and that is to go with officer's recommendation, and that was seconded by Councillor Andrew Wood. So, and the second proposal was to go against officer's recommendation and to approve, and that was made by Councillor Carr and seconded by Councillor Chris Cater. So we will vote on Councillor Alan Hunter's proposal first. All those in favour that we go with officer's recommendation, raise your hands. Three, yeah. So those against, yeah. Those against? Yeah. So that motion is lost. So So now we go with Councillor Carr's recommendation. And can I remind Councillor Carr that if this proposal is passed, that you will need to give reasonable planning reasons why we should go against officer's recommendation, okay? Yeah. All those in favour of Councillor Carr's proposal to go against the officer's recommendation and to permit. Councillor Kay. Councillor Kay. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, those against? Any abstentions? No, that's it. That is carried. So can I ask now, Councillor Carr, to give your reasons why we should go against officer's recommendation? Yeah.
It's to help the rural economy, to help the people and to give them a go, really. And maybe we didn't dot all the i's and cross all the t's when they put the financial statements in. But most of us, most people are not financial experts, and they're trying to make a living out of this. And I really think, you know, it's only the one pod when, you know, and really, let's as I said, let's give them a go. And that's really the reason behind it. Thank you.
Are you happy with those reasons?
Can I add to it, please?
Sorry?
Can I add to his proposal, if that's all right with Councillor Carr? I think there's a sustainability argument here, which is covered under TAN 6, yeah?
Yeah, TAN 6, yeah. That's what we're looking for, yeah.
Thank you.
Councillor
Thank you, Ivor, for helping me out. Thank you.
No problem.
I think we should also, you know, refer to the Wellbeing of Future Generations Wales Act, because I do think this does support a load of elements in there to do with resilience, cohesive communities, and the Welsh language. You know, that's what swayed me.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Diolch yn fawr, Councillor Chris.
I think that's clearer now, yeah. I think we just need to be very clear on which policy reasons and which national guidance you're following.
Lovely. Diolch yn fawr. Yeah. So, can I just remind everybody that because you've gone against officer's recommendation, this will be coming back. Okay? Next month. Diolch yn fawr. Okay. Nawn ni symud ymlaen at y cais nesa.
We'll move on to the next application.
Next one is 0/51155.
51155.
Correction of one number detached and two. Equity pressure. Oh, sorry. I've gone ahead of myself. The next one is 0/51739.
51739.
Conditions number of 9 and 10 of planning approval at of 0/24709 at the Go-Kart racetrack, Glanagos, Cerrig-y-Drudion. And this again is what has come back because we went against officer's recommendation. Any further information, Eddie?
Diolch, Cadeirydd. Since the last meeting, we have had discussions as officers and with the applicants with regard to revising conditions 9 and 10 to give effect to the committee's resolution, and also to reword condition 9 in relation to clarifying and monitoring requirements. Condition 9, our redraft of condition 9 is quite lengthy, but it's included in the addendum. The applicant is happy with the proposed redraft for condition number 9. He has made comments in relation to condition 10 that don't relate to the number of race meetings, but we feel that it will be more appropriate for such matters to be considered as part of a new application, which would then be subject to further public consultation. As this application is made under Section 73 of the Town and Country Planning Act, it will be necessary to reimpose any conditions on the original permission that are intended to have continued effect. We have included a copy of the original planning permission in pages 52 to 54 of the agenda pack. If members are minded to reaffirm their resolution of last month, officers recommend that conditions 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 13 and 14 are included in the new permission. It is proposed to retain conditions 12, landscaping, and 15, earthbacks and landscaping, but to reword them as the works referred to have already been undertaken, and reword conditions 9 and 10 as per the addendum. I just want to say one other thing, and Hugh Williams has come back here.
Yes.
So he is available to deal with any questions relating to noise.
Okay, diolch yn fawr. Cynghorydd Gwennol.
Dwi'n cynnig yn bod fel
I
pwyllgor yn
propose that we as a committee confirm the decision we made in the meeting on the 11th of September regarding 0/51739 in favour of giving planning permission with the conditions carry as just outlined.
Yeah, as of last month, I'm happy to second Reynolds' proposal.
Iawn, diolch yn fawr. Oce, cynghorydd Nia, oeddech chi eisiau siarad? Right, oce, iawn, mae gynnon ni gynnig.
We have a proposal that we confirm the decision we made in the previous meeting, which is to go against the officer's recommendation and approve this application with the conditions the planning officer, Kerry Thomas, has just outlined. Can you please show in the usual manner, please? In favour?
Iawn, ma' hwnna di gario. Yeah. Just check. Anybody against? Nah. No, I'm pretty certain she sat next to Gwenol, so she's not going to. No, any abstentions? Councillor Stephen Price. Iawn? Right, mae hwnna wedi gario.
Right, that has been carried. So the application has now been passed. Thank you. We'll move on then.
That has been carried, by the way. Iawn.
0/51155.
Of 1 number detached and 2 number semi-detached dwellings with means of access as 37 Cadair Avenue, Kinmel Bay, Conwy. And we have got somebody registered to speak, Cynghorydd Nigel Smith, who is one of the local members. Would you like to come forward, Nigel? And as an experienced former member of this committee, I don't have to remind you that you have 3 minutes and only 3 minutes to speak. And with 30 seconds to go, you will be warned by Jane Angharad. And if you go over that 30 seconds, I shall tell you off. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Diolch, Cadeirydd. I don't want to waste my 3 minutes telling you and the committee members the benefits these proposed flood resilient and affordable properties and the difference they will make to the neighbourhood and the community of Kinmel Bay. I want to talk about the Technical Advice Note 15, TAN 15. It's just that, it's advice. It's advice from Welsh Government and it's open to interpretation. Officers follow the advice of TAN because that's what they are supposed to do, but sometimes fail to fully recognise implications to our residents, businesses and the communities affected. Back in 2012, when I joined this committee, one of our largest employment parks in the county, the Teirth Lwyd, had been laid bare and barren for over 20 years because of the TAN, the Welsh Government's advice. Fortunately then, the planning committee members decided to challenge the advice against the officer's recommendation and the TAN, and they approved an application which opened the site up to new investment and employment, and I'm happy to say that continues today. As councillors, we are elected to represent our residents, scrutinise and challenge officers' recommendations on their behalf to get the best outcome for our residents and the communities they live in. Challenging the officer's recommendation on this application, which follows the TAN, is what I'm asking you to do today by approving this application. I ask this in the knowledge that we are installing a £14 million sea defence scheme locally in that area. And should Natural Resources Wales genuinely feel that despite these affordable properties, despite these properties may increase the flood risk in the area, they will most certainly ask the Minister to call the applications in. So please, I ask you, do not do Natural Resource Wales's job. Do not do the Minister's job, but support our community, support our residents, help our housing shortage and support our economy. Thank you, Chair.
Diolch yn fawr, Nigel, and in time for a change. Right, I believe y swyddog sy'n delio efo hwn di Katie Roberts.
The officer dealing with this is Katie Roberts.
Diolch, Cadeirydd. There's just a minor point in the addendum, members, just to say that we've received some amended plans which correctly identify a telegraph pole adjacent to the front boundary of the site, and also some amendments to the porches on each of the dwellings, and officers have no objections to the amended plans. Thank you.
Iawn. Pwy sy'n mynd I cychwyn ar hwn?
Right, who's going to start us off on this?
Who's going to kick off? Like I said, it's going to be a long day, so somebody please. Councillor Kay. Diolch yn fawr, Councillor Kay.
Diolch, Chair. Yeah, so this is in my ward. Cage Avenue is a residential street on the south of the railway border. I've lived here for 13 years, also on the south of the railway bridge. And in that 13 years, there's been no flooding to this side of the bridge from the coastal area. The area of concern, it's quite derelict. It's not very, there's a lot of neighbourhood complaints about it. It's all fenced off, it's overgrown. We get bonfires, that sort of thing on there. So I know the neighbours, certainly from my perspective, have no objections to this. So I would be in support of going for this application. Thank you.
Are you making a proposal?
I will propose that we go against officers' recommendations. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Alan Hunter.
Yeah, I'd be happy to second that. Kay's outlined it quite well. He's a local ward member, and on what she said, I'm happy to second.
Okay, anybody else? Ivor, Cynghorydd Ivor.
Diolch, Cadar. Yeah, it's as if we lost faith in building any houses in this area because of the TAN 15 maps. I think we have to listen to local knowledge, and yeah, I think this time we'll have to push this one through and start the process of building back in the east. Yeah.
Iawn, diolch yn fawr. Un arall?
Anyone else?
Na. Oh,
just very quickly. Yeah, I would support I would go with refusing the officer's recommendations. But I am mindful that the agenda for the next meeting is going to be very, very big.
Oh, this is already a big agenda. Okay, iawn. We've got a proposal from Councillor Kay, and can I remind Councillor Kay that if this goes through, you have to give sound planning reasons why we should go against. Diolch yn fawr. I'm sure Councillor Ivor will help you out. Right, or Councillor Allen, we've got a proposal that we go against recommendation and that we pass this application, and it's seconded by Councillor Alan Hunter. Those who are in favour of that proposal? Those against? Any abstentions? Well, right, that is carried, but first of all, I can call on Councillor Kay to give sound reasons why we should go against.
Yeah, I may need a little bit of support with this with the newer members.
I'm sure you'll get it.
However, I will say about the Wellbeing of Future Generations Act, sustainable economy locally, and our need for affordable housing within the area. So I don't know if anyone can add to that anything technical.
Okay, Katie, are you happy with those reasons?
I'd probably suggest that you maybe pad them out a little bit more, if at all possible, members.
Okay.
And maybe with particular references to the Wellbeing of Future Generations Act and why that's made reference to.
Can somebody help Councillor Kay out on that one? Councillor Allen.
I'd go on housing need, as Councillor Nigel suggested. The TAN 15 is advice, and officers are bound to try and work within the guidelines and the rules. However, there is a housing need, as we've all discussed previously. So yeah, I'd go on that. The well-being of future generations falls into housing need as well, I think.
Is that good enough, Katie?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you,
Diolch yn
Alan.
fawr. Thank you, Alan. Diolch yn fawr. Miss Rachel. Okay. Can announce that that has been passed. But can I remind, because we've gone against officer's recommendation, that this will be coming back at our next planning committee, which, as Councillor Stephen foresees, will be a long one. Diolch yn fawr. Right, now we come to the biggie.
Jane, would you like to put me on mute?
For those of you on Zoom, we will remove you to the waiting room.
Yeah, we will have to wait a few minutes for our new, what's it called? Legal officer to join us. Iawn, okay, gyfeillion, settle down.
Okay,
You've had
settle
your break.
down.
Mi wnawn ni gario ymlaen efo'r
We'll
cyfarfod.
carry on with the meeting.
A'r un nesa
And the next application
dim
is 0/51657.
Proposal of new all-weather artificial grass pitch with perimeter fencing and associated storage, 6-number floodlights, 2-meter high landscaped earth mounds with 1.5-meter high acoustic screens to the northern and eastern side of the AGP. Partial screening only to the southern end of the eastern earth mound. New modular changing pavilion with 2-number changing rooms with private showers and WCs, 3 persons officials changing room, accessible changing room stroke shower and WC, community room, kitchenette, external access accessible WC, spectator area and associated hard and soft landscaping at Ysgol y Creuddyn, Derwen Lane, Bae Penrhyn, Llandudno. This application was subject to a site visit made by members, and it was well attended. We have 3 speakers registered to speak. And can I call on the first speaker, who will be Ms. Elaine Evans, and she will be speaking against. Thank you, Ms. Evans. You have 3 minutes. When there is 30 seconds from the end, you will have a warning. Okay? You start when you feel ready.
Prananda, thank you for allowing me to speak today on behalf of the residents and the objectors to this planned development, and for visiting my home yesterday on the site visit. I've lived in the small village of Penrhyn Bay for nearly 30 years. The proposal to change the school field will have a detrimental impact on the community and will be equivalent to a stadium in size and will be less than the length of a local swimming pool from my house. There'll be a significant increase in hours of use, from a few hours a day for 39 weeks of the year by the school and early evening and weekend during lighter nights by the football club, to 13 hours a day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks of the year. Creuddyn will be the only school with a pitch of this size surrounded by houses. As for the school saying that the field is unplayable during the winter, I dispute this, as pupils use the field all year round, even last year when it was raining, at lunchtimes playing football. We've proved noise levels regularly reach over 70 decibels when in use, and this will be for much longer than now. Much higher levels will be reached with adult matches and more unacceptable language late into the evening. The bund will mean that some residents will lose their privacy as it's higher than the fences. It will be climbed on not only by the children but also adults and could lead to antisocial behaviour. The rubber crumb has been proven by experts to be unsafe and has carcinogenic properties. There will be light pollution from the 45-foot floodlights, higher than the surrounding houses in an area that's normally dark. There'll be a harmful effect on the red-listed species and could lead to their decline, and is out of character in an area of natural beauty, Creuddyn Peninsula Woods. There will be problems with traffic and parking, as there is now, and active travel routes will not be used, as the Welsh Government surveys recently shown, and there's no bus route past Creuddyn. It's stated it's to meet the mental health and wellbeing commitment. But does that exclude residents whose mental health and wellbeing is also important and will be impacted daily? As for obesity, it won't be resolved by playing sport. Most obese children don't want to participate, and dietary education is a much better way to address this. Surely the residents have the right to peace and quiet and enjoyment of their own homes without excessive disturbance from others, and they deserve to have this. There have been over 500 objections to this development, And of the 40 support letters, only 6 are from Penryn Bay residents. This proves it's not wanted by the community. And despite propaganda saying it will be a community facility, it won't. You have to pay to use it, and not everyone can afford to. Does the council really want to add to their already stretched resources by agreeing to the project at a cost to wildlife, endangered species, the environment, and the mental welfare of residents? Diolch yn fawr.
Yeah, thank you. Diolch yn fawr. Right, nesa, mae gennym ni'r
Right, next we have the local councillor, Carol Beard.
Once again, Councillor Carroll, you've got 3 minutes to speak. Diolch yn fawr.
Thank you to the Chair and the committee today for allowing me to speak. I am the ward member for Penryn Ward and will be representing the residents regarding this application and as my role and duty as their county councillor. An outdoor sports facility will be a great addition to the school and the pupils and recognise the importance of sport and physical and mental health. However, the proposed 3G pitch is far too big, overbearing and will impact on the residential amenity. Simply, it is in the wrong place. No other 3G pitches in the county anywhere are as close as to the houses as this one is. Others are set back away from properties and have a main road or even commercial premises and not affecting the properties. These residents are beside themselves with the impact of this 3G pitch will have on their mental health and physical health. Living so close to constant noise, lighting, problems, health impacts and overbearing of their properties. As ward members, we were shocked at the size of the pitch and the facility and how impacting it will be to residents and how close it will be to the properties. To date, 569 objections, which speaks volumes of the time and effort of residents have given and the important and huge impact it will have. Every day, residents contact me about their concerns about this, opposed to only 39 letters of support, which are from sports clubs and people who actually live outside of the community of Penryn Bay. As you've read in your report packs, the concerns include loss of amenity to the houses of the proximity to the 3G pitch, as you have seen on your site visit yesterday, how close and how impacting this will be. Noise impact, the noise impacting of these residents' houses and other houses. The noise assessment quoted 49 decibels when it was taken place. This is the permitted level. This will surely increase. If the application is approved, I would ask the committee to consider possibly a 7 p.m. closure and a 9 a.m. opening. Light pollution concerns, obviously with the 3 floodlights, will be impacting on the houses. Ecology, again, the curlews have been mentioned. Mark Isherwood, MS, who is the Curlew champion of Wales, has objected his concerns. Environmental impact, flooding, increased traffic. It's an already congested area with 2 schools, a community centre and a sports hall, all using that same space. Health risks, the EU Commission are banning rubber infill from 2023. This is only 7 years away. Even Professor Watkinson from Stirling University has shared his concerns. I ask the committee to give full weight to the vast number of objections and that the fact that they have been presented and valid planning reasons for refusal. There are other 3G pitches close, only a stone's throw away from Ysgol Craven, Coleg Llandrillo and John Bright, which are not used all the time, and there's an opportunity for them to be used. Thank you.
Diolch yn fawr, Councillor Carroll. And finally, we have Cabinet Member for Education, Councillor Julie Fallon. As a former member of this committee, I'm sure you're well aware you've got 3 minutes.
Diolch. Thank you. Okay, so Ysgol y Creiddyn was opened in 1981 and is our only Category 1 Welsh medium secondary school in Conway, and it is the only secondary school without an outdoor all-weather facility. Any current use of the site is weather dependent meaning that activities are severely limited during the winter months and regularly cancelled and rearranged. This has impacted pupils, with the school incurring additional costs to transport pupils for games at other sites at times and limited the number of activities that they can host. This project is part of an overall improvements on site to support Welsh Government and Conway Council's commitment to community-focused schools and the Welsh language, and to provide the best learning environment for our children and the community hub for the area. The education benefits this proposal include increased participation in sports, promoting physical health and well-being, encouraging teamwork and interaction, and it broadens education opportunities. There is a high local demand for all-weather facilities, and community groups would greatly benefit from a facility at the school, as it is evidence from the letters of support that have been received. A range of community activities can be facilitated on this new provision. Rugby and football can be played all year round, and the proposed community space in the changing hub could be hired for a variety of uses. Outdoor learning events and community sessions can also be held, collaborating with our youth and community teams and our primary schools. The school run numerous after-school clubs offering various sporting opportunities for learners. The site has a small leisure facility and a community centre, both of which would benefit from this new facility. The facility will be run by Fit Conway in the evenings and weekends and during school holidays to provide access to the community, as it does at all of our secondary schools. The plans have been carefully thought through to meet planning guidelines and policy. From the location of the pitch and the changing hub, mitigations have been included in the design to account for noise, and in addition to measures to improve the overall biodiversity of the site. Excuse me. This is fully grant-funded project. The support shown from Welsh Government, the Football Association of Wales and Sports Wales collaborating at this site shows the importance of this project. Securing this level of grant funded in these difficult times is something we can be proud of. I'd like to finish by saying this also meets the aims of the Wellbeing of Future Generations Act. It encourages physical activity and healthy lifestyles, and it's a responsible and community-focused development that also meets several of Conway's key corporate priorities, and I fully support this application. Diolch.
Before you leave the podium, can I just ask a question of you for clarification? You stated that Ysgol y Creiddyn is the only Welsh medium high school in category 1.
Category 1.
Yeah.
Dyffryn Conway is in the process of transitioning to that.
Just
to
for
that
clarification,
position.
I just
Yeah,
wanted to make
no.
sure. Okay, diolch yn fawr.
Diolch.
Yeah, there we are. We've got, we now go over to the officers, and that's Dave Watson and Liz Wood.
Thank you, Chair. According to the addendum, NRW has reiterated its previous comments and has no further comments to make. We have a total of 567 objections and 39 letters of support, including 2 petitions of support. There are some additional points that are listed in the addendum, which I'll mention fairly briefly. The first one, outlook from the houses will be onto the proposed fence due to the height above surrounding gardens and houses. The visual impact has been assessed in the report. The noise assessment calculations have not been done for the upper floor windows. The noise assessment has been submitted, and we've carried out consultations with environmental health officers, and they are here to answer any questions you have on noise issues. The detrimental impact on the dark skies, Snowdonia National Park, it's outside the national park and the dark skies area. Officers consider there isn't likely to be a significant impact on the dark skies. It's in an area of high radon gas levels. This is a point which hasn't been raised by the environmental health officer that I'm aware of, and no concerns have been raised from environmental health. The rubber crumb material, and it's causing carcinogens. The pollution and environmental health issues in relation to the rubber crumb is referenced in the report in paragraph 28. the concerns that the ecologist objected initially, but then following the submission of an independent report, revised comments to be more favourable, which contradicts the original comments. What happened was an additional statement was submitted by the applicant, which looked specifically at the use of the site by overwintering curlew, and the ecologist commented on that report and then didn't raise any objections to the application. The impact on buzzards, lapwing, dormice, rare moths, butterflies. We don't have any objection from the ecologist, and we have a green infrastructure statement, and the application, subject to conditions, would have to include ecological enhancements as part of the development. Flooding issues caused by the bund would undermine house foundations. The drainage issues are referred to in the report and considered, and the surface water drainage aspects in particular would be covered by the SAB application process, which would have to be carried out by the developer. Concerns about how building materials would be brought into the site, well, there would have to be a construction method statement condition attached to the approval. Concerns about parking on the tennis courts and indicating that parking is not currently not sufficient at the moment. We don't have any objections from highways. Highway comments are included in the report, and the highway officer is here and can answer any questions you have on that. Issues to do with the cafe and increased litter, we haven't had any comments from environmental health officer on that, and it would be controlled by other legislation. The accusation that the developer has deliberately made the site less than 1 hectare to avoid biodiversity and SAB consent requirements. Biodiversity has been addressed in the report, and the SAB approval process will have to be followed as well. We also have in the addendum, it refers to letters of support, additional points, the all-weather floodlit facility in the area. Other sites are hugely oversubscribed, and as such deny local clubs and children the opportunity to participate in sport, especially during bad weather when the grass pitches are unsuitable, and that they say that the pitch at the school is the best location for the facility. Officers would like to clarify a couple of things which were looked at by the members on site yesterday. We looked at where the earth mounds were going to be positioned, and I think officers gave the impression that the earth mounds would be 4 meters wide, when in fact they are 12 meters wide, 12 to 14 meters wide, shown on the drawings. I think we did look at them in the right place, but we just said that they were the wrong width. The members were asking about the streetlight columns that are currently on the footpath. We believe they're 5 meters in height, and they have LED bulbs, 19 to 27 watt bulbs. We looked at the existing football and rugby posts on the sports pitch, and they're between 6.4 and 7.3 meters high. Thank you, Chairman.
Diolch yn fawr. Before I open it for discussion, I just want to pick up something that Cabinet Member Julie mentioned, which is grant funding. Whilst it's nice to know that there's grant funding available, that is not a planning consideration, okay? Just wanted to make that clear. Diolch yn fawr. Right, who's going to kick off? Councillor Daf Jones, sorry.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I'd just like to recommend that we go with the officer's recommendations here proposed. Recreation and sports facilities are lacking of this kind within the county. Looking at the lighting, the Lux one falls short of properties, and for me, that isn't a concern. And all weather pitches are required throughout the county, and sports is integral to children and young people's mental health, and that's one of my main considerations. In talking about the bund, I believe this is going to be planted on, there's going to be
Is that true?
wildflowers and
Yeah.
which
Liz, would you like to?
Yeah, there's quite a lot of extensive landscaping that's proposed on the Bund, and just for clarification, there wouldn't be any public access to that area. They are proposing fences. There would be access gates for maintenance purposes, but that would be it.
yeah, well that was brought up. There'd be people, you wouldn't keep people off the Bund, and that isn't totally correct, because as was explained yesterday, there will be fences and there will be landscaping, which just adds to the area and the wildlife, birds, bees, and butterflies and the like. Just one question. I was looking at the plan. Is there any reason why the planned pitch couldn't be moved 90 degrees?
Can I answer the question?
If you would, yeah.
My understanding is that they position the pitch where it is to give it some separation from the site boundaries and the adjoining properties, but also to retain the other area to the side, to the western side, which would be used for sports pitches that are just grass pitches. So basically, they're maintaining that area for grass pitches. And if you were to reorientate the whole thing, it would affect the layout of the rest of the pitches.
Okay. Thank you. In that case, yes, I propose we go with the officer's recommendation. Thank you.
Got a seconder for that, Councillor Tristan.
Diolch yn fawr iawn.
Thank you very much. As I told you at the start, when I was at school, during the Ice Age, there were no houses either side of those fields. And one of the speakers talked about the effects on wildlife. Well, you've lost 2 or 3 fields there, that's development. But this development specifically is for the benefit of young people and children, and that's the difference. The Creuddyn is on wet ground, as I recall when I played rugby. So this provision offers for children opportunities to do sport, not only for children and people in Ysgol y Creuddyn, but it's an opportunity to include the community and the school together. The speakers have talked a lot about what about us. Well, what about the well-being of children and young people and their benefits? That's what we need to look at. And the point is, from Councillor Julie, that this is the only secondary school that doesn't have this type of provision. And we have to remember that. We also need to bear in mind, in terms of the people that came on the site visit, that there's a public footpath separating the field and the housing, not on one side, but on the other side. That's important to remember. And there's street lighting as well. And that's why I asked what the measurement of the street lighting was. I have one question, if I may ask, Chair. In terms of noise, it seems that between the new fields and the boundary, children won't be allowed to go into that bit between the Bund and the boundary. Is that going to affect noise? And the question I have is, children won't be going there at all, will they? Near the boundary. So I imagine, in terms of noise of children playing, that will be lessened. Am I correct in that?
Will the fact that there is a Bund there, will that make the noise less?
A'r gwaglen de, and the void between the Bund and the perimeter.
Well, to that degree, it would do, but in terms of the Bund is put there from a noise mitigation point of view with the acoustic screen on top of it, isn't it? 1.5 meter high acoustic screen, so less noise in the area that's between that and the boundaries, because it wouldn't be used, but obviously more noise on the pitch itself, and the pitch itself would be used through the day, I understand it, by the school. So I think the noise on the pitch would be greater than the noise that's lost on the other area.
Ocê, diolch yn fawr. A un o ddau bwynt eraill, y
And one or
gylfinir
two
y
other
cwestiwn
points, the curlew, and the question about the curlew, I understood that the curlew obviously doesn't nest on the fields, but comes onto them, but doesn't nest on them, which is a world of difference, really. So I think it's a fantastically exciting application that offers a fantastic opportunity to young people and children. It brings the community in. There are many opportunities with the pavilion and all the provisions that are available for the community, as well as the school in the new pavilion. So I'm happy to second the application. Thank you.
Diolch yn fawr. Oes unrhyw un arall eisiau
Do we have anyone else wanting to speak? Councillor Gwennell. Thank you very much. Councillor Tristan has outlined many of what I wanted to say already. On the site visit yesterday, I imagined before going that the all-weather pitch would be much nearer to the housing, but as Councillor Tristan said, there's a wide footpath between the housing on one side and the pitch, and then a substantial bit between the hedge and the playing fields as well. The suggestion from one speaker was that children from Ysgol Creighton should travel to another site to play on an all-weather pitch, and I don't think that's fair. And as the councillor said, the school has been there long before any housing, and there are many all-weather pitches in a lot of villages where there's no school, no secondary school. Even in the small village where I live, there's an all-weather pitch there, and it doesn't cause any trouble for anyone. The first speaker talked about children playing on the field in winter. Well, I'd imagine that they come home covered in mud from head to toe. You know, there are 700 children in the school, and in wintry weather, thinking that has to all be on the yard, that doesn't make sense at all. This offers additional space for young people and children to keep dry and clean during break times as well. Noise coming from the playground isn't going to affect anyone because 700 children make noise during break times anyway, where there would be much fewer on this all-weather pitch when it is open. The fences around the housing are too high for anyone to see out of them during the day, and from the bedrooms you can still see past the pitch if you want to look at the scenery. And I'd suggest if any additional lighting affects anyone, then we have curtains to close. We're not talking about them playing on this field until the early hours of the morning. And one more thing that's a shame is that we haven't had a young person speaking in favour of this application today. I'd imagine that Creighton pupils and young people in the area would love to have this provision in their community. Thank you. Thank you very much, Councillor Gwennell. Anyone else?
Councillor Kay. Okay, you're on mute.
Diolch, Chair. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I've got an all-weather pitch very close to my house, part of the leisure centre, and to be honest, we have no problems. We don't have any antisocial behaviour from it. We don't have people climbing over the high fences or anything like that. It's very well managed and maintained. It's used at weekends. It's used by the neighbouring schools during the day, and we don't even notice it's there, to be honest. And I think my biggest thing is I think it's a shame that our Welsh secondary school doesn't have this facility, and I think our pupils that attend this school are missing out. So I am in favour of this because, you know, I really think this school needs it. So thank you.
Well, Councillor Kay. Councillor Alan Hunter.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. It's just moving on from what Councillor Dave said about turning the pitch around. I'm just looking, it's difficult looking at a diagram. I'm looking at the one with the Lux diagrams. I don't know if somebody can put something up. But I'm just wondering if that was turned 90 degrees, so the longest part of the pitch was near to the school, would there be room for the two other pitches to go on the right-hand side of it? Maybe if you could put the documents up. Just wonder if
I think we have that drawing, Julia, amongst the drawings. Do we?
But it'd take a couple of sides away, further away.
We have
from
a
the house.
drawing which shows the adjoining pitches on the grass.
Yeah, I think it's the one that it's got the existing pitch and then the proposed pitch next to it.
That's what I'm looking at the moment. It may not be possible, but it's just a consideration, I think.
That's, yeah.
If you could just go, I can't remember whether the drawing's on in this presentation or not. If Julia can briefly go through the.
Yeah, if you would.
Yeah, sorry, that one does actually show it. It's my eyesight, I think. I think that does it not, Liz?
Yeah.
If you go up, you won't be able to hear you, but this shows the proposed retained pitches to the side of it. Is that what you were?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
The running track would move from there across.
So what Councillor Dave asked
Based on the plans, the running track would move from where it is at the moment across, looking at the oval area, if you can see that. I know it's quite faint.
Okay.
So they want to make sure they've still got the other areas still utilised to provide the other sporting facilities on the grassed area.
Sort of suggestion, and Dave alluded to as well, if the layout of the pitch was turned 90 degrees, could the other sports pitches go between the pitch and the houses that are nearest to it? Difficult to explain. I could come up and point if you want me to.
I think I understand, but I wonder whether the best thing is to ask education.
Yeah.
Because is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm happy to go. I would like that to be looked at and investigated if that could be done, because that would take the longest side of the pitch away from the houses that are at the bottom with the alleyway. They have a walkway through an alleyway, for want of a better description, and it would take the shortest part of the pitch away from the houses that have no distance between them and the short end. So if it was turned, I think it would be more acceptable.
You mean so that it would be closer to the school?
Closer to the, yeah, so the longest part of
the grassed area would be.
Yeah, it would turn. So it'd be further away from the houses.
We have got somebody from education, John Davis.
Yeah, John.
Yeah, Kadeira, thank you for letting me speak. Yeah, Councillor, just on that one, we have looked at it as part of all the designs really, and our concerns with that one is if pupil numbers are increasing in line with where they are and how they are at the moment, then we'd be limiting ourselves to future building concerns and how we'd extend Craven in the future if needed. So we thought that this was the best location and the best possible area for this all-weather pitch on the site as it is now.
Okay, thanks for that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, Alan. Is that all right, Dave?
Yeah, just looking at that plan again, if we're looking at future building concerns, there's a tarmacked area of sports areas to the right-hand side of the school as well.
It's the tennis court. All right. Yeah. Anybody else want to speak? Joe.
Deal. Just looking at the other issues raised by the residents, British Gas are listed as a statutory consultee, but according to the residents, haven't been contacted, and there's a gas pipe that runs under. Can we clarify that, please?
They're not a statutory consultee.
Okay, and is there a gas pipe?
The utilities are shown on the plan, such as the Welsh water pipe and that.
Okay, deal.
By the applicant.
Okay, Rwynara. Councillor Carr, I thought you would want to comment.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. From the information I've got, the materials they're proposing to use to build the pitch are banned in the EU, and they're under review in this country at the moment, and that could change. Did the officers take that into account? And obviously, I think all weather pitches are great and I absolutely support it. But using these materials that are banned in the EU, that may possibly be banned in this country, then who would have to replace the pitch? Would it fall to Conway Council on top if we have to replace it? So I think that's a concern. Could the officers answer that? And obviously they must know about it. And what do they think about that? That it may need to be replaced at some point. Thank you.
The report does refer to this, but quite briefly, really, in paragraph 28, when it refers to the use of microplastic materials. They're not currently restricted under planning control. I think you've alluded to the fact that in Europe, Europe legislation, I think I understand is banning it from 2031. So they're not currently banned in the EU either. I don't think those restrictions in the EU will necessarily follow through to Wales. So it's something we're going to have to wait and see about, really. But as far as the current application goes, it's not restricted under the current planning control system, and it would potentially be controlled by other legislation at some point in the future. So which we don't know about. We don't know what that will be, how it will impact on this development moving forward. Would it be a matter for the council as a local authority to deal with that at that time, won't it?
You want to come back, David?
Can I just do a follow-up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Would it be possible to build the whole weather pitch with different materials that are not currently banned in the EU and not like to ban in this country? Because the worst thing would be that we build this and then at some point we have to replace the pitch, and that wouldn't be grant funded. That would probably be the cost of the council. Is that a viable option to look at other materials to build another? Because I'm not an expert on this by any means. Is that an option that could have been looked at? Thank you.
Well, my understanding is the applicant has looked at other options, is looking at options and has looked at other options, and this is the option that they think is the best one. So that's all I can really say.
I'll ask John, any comments on that?
I can just pass it on to Gareth, Chair, please.
Okay, Gareth.
We have looked at alternatives and we have been in discussion with FAW as well. But what they're saying, it's important to note there's currently no widely available alternative infill at this present time. So that no proven durability, especially with the weather conditions and the climate here. But we are monitoring it, as we are aware there's trials ongoing.
Okay, David?
Not really, Chair, because basically if there's no alternative, it looks as though if the pitch does have to be replaced, and we don't know, as I said, this is all uncertain, then it wouldn't be replaced with an all-weather pitch, would it? So, I think, so that's certainly things for members of the committee when they vote to think about.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And also, may I remind the committee members that the UK is no longer part of the European Union, so more or less we will not have to follow European legislation. Okay, Councillor Dav Jones.
Thank you, Chair. Let me come back. Yeah, I just go with my original proposal that we go with recommendation. I'm happy with the explanation of why the pitch can't be turned, and I just
okay, lovely. And are you still happy to second that, Alan? Oh, sorry, Tristan. Madrug Geni o Vutina Dalen hapus.
Are you still happy to second? Thank you.
Yes, Joe.
Would Dav be willing to make an amendment on the hours of opening to reduce it from 9 o'clock to say 8 o'clock each evening?
I think Councillor Beard had suggested in her statement, and correct me if I'm wrong, 9 a.m. till 7 p.m. Am I right? Yeah, you can answer that.
Yes, Chair. If it was approved, I was going to recommend if the officers or the committee would look at a 7 p.m. closing.
Yep.
But also in the report, one says 8 o'clock start, and then further in the report it says 9 o'clock a.m. start.
Yeah, but your preference would be between 9 and 7.
Please, yeah.
Yes. Dave? Well, can I first of all ask the officers first? Would that be something we could find a compromise on?
Well, I'd need to refer it back to the applicant, but my understanding is that a restriction on hours, making it 2 hours less use would be 2 hours less community use, wouldn't it? Really, wouldn't affect the school use.
Yeah.
Would affect the community use of it.
I'm seeing John Davis looking.
And
at me.
I'm imagining that they've done it as it is to get the right balance, you might say.
Just ask John. John, what did he make sure?
Yeah, well, just on that, we're also, with the community asset you were saying then, but we're trying to make it financially viable as well. Two less hours, 5 days a week. It will be a hit. The calculations. Again, I'd have to check. The leisure team have put this together with regards to their maintenance figures and what have you. But let's see what the board's saying.
Something might be able to consider.
Yes, might. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Right. Does that answer your question, Joe? And we've got Kay. Kay, do you want to come back?
Thank you. Yeah, just around the opening times, the all-weather pitch by me is in use till 9 o'clock at night, and generally 7 till 8 and then 8 till 9 is used by small adult groups like adult netball and adult five-a-side, and it's really quiet, so you don't get the big groups of people using it that late at night. And generally it's only over winter, and they do diminish over winter, which is when the floodlights are needed. So I personally don't think that a restriction on the opening hours would make an awful lot of difference, particularly to noise. So that's just my experience of living by one. Thank you.
Joe.
Yeah, I'm happy with that explanation. Thank you.
Lovely. Okay then, Councillor Dav.
Yeah, it was exactly the same thing. I think that the figures would have been worked out here on the financial side of things, and it will be adults mainly that will be using that later hour. And I believe that it's lights out at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Right. I think we've had a lengthy discussion on this. We've got a proposal and a seconder. Is there anybody else who wants to speak before I go to the votes? No? Okay then. We've got a proposal by Councillor Dav Jones that we go with officer's recommendation, and that is seconded by Councillor Tristan Lewis. Those of you who are in favour, can you show in the usual way, please? Those against? None. Abstentions? 2 abstentions. Therefore, I can say that that motion has been carried and that application has been approved. Can I thank those in the gallery for their exemplary behaviour? I know it's very difficult for you, but can I also thank you? Yeah, okay. Iawn, ymlaen â ni, gai ymddiheuro
We'll move on, and can I apologise to those in the public gallery that have been waiting patiently. We'll move on to the next application.
Councillor Nia.
And Councillor Nia, do you want to go? Do you want to leave?
Have you let everybody else back in? Chris, wedi di ddeud, ond mae o'n dod. Councillor Iffor, is he back in? Iawn, thank you, Councillor Julie. Iawn ta, y cais nesa.
Right, the next
Ydi,
application
0
is 0/51716.
Refurbishment and internal renovation to existing wine shop and part retrospective application for the demolition of unsafe rear ground floor extension and proposed direction of ground floor extension and roof terrace to include solar panels with alterations to shop fronts and awnings at 23 Station Road, Llanrwst. This application was subject to a site visit by members, which was held yesterday. We have 2 people registered to speak. First of all, gai alw ar Mr Osian Deiniol.
Can I call Mr Osian Deiniol to come forward, please? And Mr Deiniol will speak in favour.
Mae gennych chi 3 munud.
You have 3 minutes, and when we get to 30 seconds left, you will be notified by Jane Angharad Jones here. You can start when you're ready.
My name is Osian Deiniol. I work for Blaster Void, but I'm also the son of the family business of Blaster Void. The business employs 68 people and have been a successful business on the high street for 36 years. I disagree with Conwy Planning Department's decision and who are minded to refuse the planning application on the basis that the development will be detrimental to neighbouring residential amenity, to the character of the existing building and to the character and appearance of the conservation area. I was brought up in the property in the flat on number 25 and I know it to be a substantial building in dire need of upgrading. The flood of 9th February 2019 gave us the opportunity as a family to invest over £1 million in the redevelopment of 2 trading houses built by the Mostyn and Ancaster estate in 1845, critically for the houses to continue to be successful and of value to the local community. A sympathetic development, which is an asset to Llanrwst to prosper as a resilient market town, was and still is in our hearts. There have been dozens of emails back and forth between ourselves and Conwy Planning Department for over 4 years, and multiple iterations of the plan trying to achieve the best outcome. For example, guidance states that the fence should be at least 1.7 metres high for privacy. Our neighbours asked for it to be 1.8. 1.8 was passed by Conwy. The planning department now want to reduce, but the property next door, north of our building, have asked for it to remain at 1.8. We are stuck in the middle. I'd like to stress that plans were previously passed. Midway through the build, our builders and structural engineers told us part of the old building was unsafe and should be taken down immediately. This was the reason for resubmission. We replaced it with an energy-efficient building fit for the future and with a roof that cannot be seen from any highway. The new plans closely mimic the old design and we believe them to be reasonable, the development being in the same spirit as the planning application that was originally approved. What is now proposed has come about after taking into consideration countless edits on the request of the planning officer. The fire departments were consulted and they asked us to move the internal staircases of the flats to the current outside proposed positions. We were told it was critical. Building control asked us to add a door to the flat of 23 so residents did not have to exit through a kitchen in the event of a fire. Designers suggested we add a 4th door to the back so both properties looked balanced. Conservation officer raised concerns about too much wood on show and we proposed an environmental living wall. After 4 years, we have refurbished an empty 3-bedroom flat with a real need for rental homes in the for local people in the town. This is frustrating. We have a business that creates value, employment and hope for the future on a struggling high street. For my family, born and bred in the conservation area of Llanrwst, our town's history means no less to us than anyone else. In fact, we cherish it. But we want to see Llanrwst thrive. Please be minded to approve this application to help us make that happen.
Diolch yn fawr, Mr Deiniol. Gai alw ar yr ail siaradwr.
I call on the second speaker, please. The local councillor for Llanrwst, Councillor Aaron Wyn. You have 3 minutes to speak. 3 minutes only. Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon, everyone. I'll be speaking in favour of this application. As Osian Daniel has said already, Blasar Fwyd is an extremely prosperous business in the market town of Llanrwst and one of the town's main employers with over 68 members of staff. Blasar Fwyd is a business that supplies products for the whole of Wales and beyond and puts Llanrwst and Conwy County on the map. The business, and in particular the wine shop, is an asset to Llanrwst as it is one of the largest wine shops in Wales, which attracts customers from afar. I believe that this application is in accordance with TAN 6, which is Planning for Sustainable Rural Communities. This application, in addition to the wine shop and the viable business, also affects the flats that are above the shop. As we all well know, there is a housing crisis across the county of Conwy, and especially in the rural area, which includes the town of Llanrwst. It would be a great pity if these flats could not be brought back into full use. There's a real need for houses and flats like this in Llanrwst, and they would be very welcome. Comments about conservation can be found in the information pack as well, and as someone who passes Blasar Fwyd's wine shop very often when walking into the town centre, the shop, and specifically for this application, the back of the shop, is in a much better condition than ever before. And so I have no doubts that the application is a valid one and one that adheres to the spirit of conservation policies. I therefore urge you, as one of the county councillors for Llanrwst, to approve this application. Thank you. Thank you very much, Sharon. Although I find it difficult to find that you can pass the shop.
Right. We'll now go over to the officer, James Chan.
Yeah, that's not been in the addendum.
Okay. Come, then who's going to start me off? Oh, Councillor Stephen.
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to propose that we go against the officer's recommendations purely on the basis of TAN 6. Our honours made a compelling argument that the local community and the Welsh language need to remain sustainable, and Llanrwst has been one of the epicentres in the Conwy County Council for the Welsh language and Welsh culture. It's essential that businesses continue and grow and provide employment for the local community. So on that basis, I would like to go against the officer's recommendations and approve this application.
Okay, Councillor Tristan and then Councillor Dav.
I'll second Councillor Stephen's recommendation. Thank you.
The same. Same. Okay. Anybody else? Any other proposals? Any other comments? No. Yaunta. Can I remind you that you are going against officer's recommendation, and that if this passes, it comes back to a very long agenda for the next meeting. Iawn. Can you show in the usual way, Sgwelch? Iawn. Okay. Were anybody against having a wine shop in Llanrwst? No? Any abstentions? Na, dim. Iawn, mae hwnna wedi'w basio.
None. Okay, that's been carried. And it will, of course, come back before us to be confirmed in the next meeting. Sorry, I forgot to ask. Because we've gone against the officer's recommendation, are we happy with the reasoning given by Councillor Stephen?
Councillor Stephen's reasoning.
I will just take a look at it. Can I just do my speak again?
Yes, okay. Can you just reiterate what you said?
Yeah,
and the reasons, tactics and all that?
The main reason would be TAN 6. It's also there to protect the Welsh language and the community of Llanrwst, the future generations of Llanrwst, and the sustainability of the local businesses and employment for local people as well.
You happy with that, James?
Yeah, for recording. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Iawn. Fedra i ddeud felly bo
Okay, I can confirm then that that has gone against the officer's recommendation and it will come back to the next meeting. Thank you. Right, we'll move on. You can go if you need to.
Has anybody got a flask? Iawn, okay. Ymlaen â ni at yr
Right, on we go to the next one. 0/51802.
Oh, yes, sorry. Yeah, I know. I need a coffee break for this one. Oh yeah, Nia's back.
Just don't send Tristan to get the coffee next time because he only comes back with one.
No, that's true. That's one mistake we will never make again. Iawn, stedwch lawr. Gwelwch chi, ni cael cychwyn.
Sit down, please, for us to start because it's a long day and I'm in a hurry.
Next application, dim/5 with dim 2, change of use from a brownfield site to create a new beer garden ancillary to the adjoining public house, operating hours to match those of the pub, the Picture House, 2627 Princess Drive, Colwyn Bay. We have no speakers, so over to James, is it? Katie. Oh, Katie, sorry, Katie.
Diolch, Cadeirydd. There's just a few matters to take you through in the addendum, members. We've received some amended plans which amend the wall posed within the application as well as the gates and the pergolas. We've also received some additional information with regards to surface water drainage, and whilst the proposals haven't been finalised, the applicant is investigating the use of soakaways on the site, and if that's not feasible, they would then look to discharge to the main sewer. We've received a couple of consultation responses. One is no objections from the Conservation Officer with regards to the amended plans, and one from Welsh Water, who recommend a condition to state that no surface water shall be permitted to connect to the public sewer. And they also provide advisory notes regarding the recording of public sewers and lateral drains on the site. Officers do not raise any objections to the amended plans, and we consider them to be improvement upon those previously submitted. And like I say, whilst a detailed drainage strategy hasn't been provided, the principles outlined within their methodology would follow the hierarchy specified within policy NTE8. And so for that reason, in combination with the fact that the drainage matters would be controlled by the SAB, we do not consider it necessary to request any additional information regarding surface water drainage. And the recommendation remains as previously stated, which is minded to grant conditional planning permission. Thank you.
Diolch o Katie, Cynghorydd Nia.
Councillor Nia.
Diolch yn fawr iawn, Katie.
Thank you very much. Katie, thank you very much, Chair. Yes, I'm more than happy to go with the officer's recommendation and to approve this application. And I'm happy to second.
Anybody else want to make any other proposal or comment? No, very good. Show in the usual way. Diolch yn fawr. Keep your hands up. Jane Angharad's getting tired. Yeah, any unanimous? Anybody against? No. Any abstentions? No. That is unanimous and that has been passed. Iawn. Diolch am drefn. Dan ni'n dod i'r diwedd.
Thank you. We're coming to the end now.
Hopefully this will be as quick, but I doubt if it will. Right. Rhif y cais dim.
Application number 0/51898.
Floor of 23 Marine Road, Pensarn, from former cafe to 2 apartments. we have no speakers. Who's dealing with this? Steve?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Joe.
Oh, yeah, we got it. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, sorry. Councillor Carr not with you? He's going to get his coat.
For members on Zoom, we're just waiting for Councillor Carr to come back to the chamber.
He's going to get his coat.
Thank you very much for letting us know. Very, very grateful. Are you telling us to hurry up, Chair?
No, he's with us.
Are you sure about that?
No, yeah, he's here now. He's coming.
Well, I meant in difference for
But he looks as if he's ready to go home. He's got his rucksack in his hand. Iawn, okay? Yeah, okay, no problem. Right, the last item today, dim stroke pimp Ian.
0/51898.
Ground floor of 23 Marine Road, Pensarn, from former cafe to 2 apartments. We have no speakers, and this is Kerry.
Diolch, Cadeirydd. There aren't any updates to report in the addendum, but I do want to raise one thing in response to a decision which the committee made earlier this afternoon in relation to development where there was a flood risk concern. The application which has been approved in Kimnel Bay was for 2-storey dwellings, and that means that whilst there was concern from NRW about the flood risk, there was at least a means of refuge within the properties where people could find refuge during an extreme flood event. The application that's before us is specifically for the change of use of ground floor apartments. And as ground floor apartments, they wouldn't have a means of refuge in an extreme flood event. So I would like to make that distinction between the 2 applications. I've got no further matters to add.
Diolch yn fawr, Kerry, and thank you for pointing that out. I think it's very important. Iawn. Alan Hunter, is it?
I didn't even raise my hand.
No, but I could see you. I could.
Burning.
Telepathic.
Yeah, no, I take on board what Kerry's just said. However, the similarities are the need for housing. This cafe has been empty now for, as far as I can remember, over a year, maybe 2 years. There's been a sign outside. Just for clarity, this is on my ward. It's an area I go to a lot, and I actually used to hold residence meetings in that cafe, so I know the layout of the inside of it. There's an interesting point in the write-up, for want of a better term, that there was floods in 1990. Well, we didn't have a seawall in 1990, but we have one now. I think that was finished in 1995, which is our sea defences. During the consultations for extra flood defences, where Kimnel Bay are getting some, Nigel alluded to, right along the coast, there's been flood work, additional sea defence work. Pensarn and Abergele, it was deemed that we're not necessary to have any extra flood defences because we have the seawall in place already. So it's a bit of a catch-22. We've got NRW saying we're a flood risk, but everyone else saying, well, you've got a seawall, so you don't even need to have any extra defences up. So this is a need. It's anyone that knows Pensarn, there's flats there. They're not in that best of quality, but this is going to be 2 flats that will be totally totally new. Ground floor entry for people that maybe can't use stairs. So there is there's another catch-22. They can't get out if there's a flood. They can get out, but they can't use stairs. So it's it's a need down there. We need something that's new in that area. So I'm going to propose we go against officer's recommendation, just to add to the list if it goes through. And I'd like to see these flats built. It's an affordable housing need, desperate need down there. Thanks, Chair.
Cynghorydd Andrew Wood.
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to second Councillor Hunter. It's not in my
I thought
ward.
you would.
Oh, thank you very much. You're that sidekick, are you?
Yeah.
You're really good, you are. That's why you're our chair. But very quickly, there's two things. That one, when we did have a flood, which Councillor Hunter was alluded to, I think it was 1991, this area wasn't affected. It's actually on higher ground. We've just give to the local caravan park, we've awarded them 12-month certificates for status for the caravans. They're obviously virtually on the ground, obviously slightly off. And we've just we've just in the stages of building about 250 houses in that same area, which is actually lower than these flats. These flats, as Councillor Hunter did allude to, it's been an unsuccessful cafe. It's trying to be a restaurant. It is suitable for conversion to flats. There's obviously flats above it. This would be, from the ones I've visited stuff in Llandudno and so on and so forth. There's a lot of stuff in flood defence areas, but we're going to have to make sure that, we have flood warnings and so on and so forth. So I would like to propose we go with this one and go against officer's recommendation. Thank you, Chair.
Diolch fawr. Councillor Kay.
Yeah, I'm familiar with this building and where it is. Some of the flats opposite have ground floor flats. Can I just clarify that with one of the local members?
Yeah, they do. There's flats next door to it as well.
Yeah, I thought so. So, yeah. So I think I'd be supporting this application because there is a need for this type of housing and, there are other ground floor flats in the area. So, yeah, and with all that we've approved with building work coming up in that area, I think we need it. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Councillor Chris.
Yeah, I just think this application is quite similar to the one that we considered in Craigerdon, in my neck of the woods, Mostyn Avenue, where it was a 2-2 parlour that we gave planning permission for ground floor residents. We made an exception for that one, and I don't see really the difference with this. Craigerdon is defended as well for the sea level rising and so on. So I think I'm support the members that have proposed we go against officer's recommendation and approve.
There we are. Right, I've got a proposal from Councillor Alan Hunter that we go against officer's recommendation and we grant approval to this, which is seconded by Councillor Andrew Wood. Anybody, can you show in your usual way? Are you for his proposal? Yeah. Yeah. Any against? No. Any abstentions? No. Can I just remind you, because you've gone against officer's recommendation, that this will come back to the next meeting? And can I suggest you bring a sleeping bag, a flask, and sandwiches with you? Planning reasons, please, Alan.
Yeah, similar to the one in Kimmel Bay. It's Wellbeing Act and housing need. Desperately need a housing down there. Not sure what the policy number is for that one, but is that enough to go on? I did have it written down, but I wrote it on a piece.
Yeah, it's okay.
Thank you.
They're both either side of me are happy, and if they're happy, I'm happy. No.
Chair, to be serious about the amount of applications that are coming back,
yeah,
would it not be possible to have an extra meeting in November to release the load?
Yes, that is something we can consider. Okay. When Paula is back, I'll have a chat with her. Yeah, you've seen up as a Rachel. Yes.
Just subject to resources.
Sorry. The important person is
the resources.
Yeah, resources. Okay.
Try to accommodate
resources.
Everyone.
In other words, just bring some sandwiches and a sleeping bag and. Yeah. Can I thank you all for today? It's been a long one, and you've been Great. Is the recording finished? Or switch it off? Thank you, everybody, and thank you all the officers, Kerry, James, Dave, Liz behind there, and Julia, Berwyn in the cut, Paul Smith over there, and the boss at the end, Rachel, and everybody else. Diolch yn fawr iawn chi. Cut.